Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. Sorry I haven't been with you for a while. I've been dealing with some things. I've been, dealing with a couple of things and then other things. And I'm sorry I'm a little late with getting to back to form with the NBA season and whatnot and when it's already started. And I know we're already a month into the season. It's also a better time to do this now when we're a little bit into the season as well too than it would have been before as well at the same token at the same time because now you actually get a bit more of a real feel for how the season's really going to go. So now you can really make an actually much more realistic prediction now as opposed to later before. But anyway, I'm back and I'll start off first things first with this game between that I just witnessed and that I'm sure you guys witnessed between the Raptors and the 76ers. And if you know, I'm a Torontonian and I'm a Raptors fan, obviously. And the Raptors just pulled up a big win against the 76ers. Now, they didn't blow them out of the water. It was a close game and it was a good game. Um if you're a Phillies fan, you're sick right now because of how Embiid played and how it helped for Embiid. But if you're a Raptors fan, you're cheering for the Hills exactly because of how this game went and the fact that Embiid was held to a goose egg. 0 points. That scored 0 points on 0 for 11 from the floor. And I don't know how many turnovers in this game, but it was atrocious from him. He looked like he needed load management in this game. And the ironic thing is, he's the guy that's talking all that smack all the time. He smacked Carl Anthony Towns, if you remember that. And then he's the guy that did the airplane at the end of game 3 when he was having one good game against us that he's ever had in his career, I think. Well, at least as long as Marc Gasol's been here, because as soon as Marc Gasol's gotten here, ever since then, he's been his daddy. Kawhi's been Ben Simmons' daddy, but now he's left. But the funny thing is, the Raptors still appear to be Ben Simmons' daddy as well, too, even without Kawhi Leonard. Even though Kawhi was Ben Simmons' daddy, now it's the Raptors who are Ben Simmons' daddy. And Gasol is still Embiid's daddy. So that doesn't bode well for the 76ers against us, even though you would think that they would come in here with a lot more enthusiasm and motivation, especially for what happened last year in Game 7 and how that ended. I mean, that had to leave a bad taste in their mouth. So if you're a Philly fan, you're disgusted with yourself. You had to win this game for your morale and everything else, and you did not. Not only did you not win, you let yourselves have the game be tight, and then have the game get away from you again, and have Embiid be trained like be playing like trash the whole game, and basically cost you the game because you couldn't do shit up there. That's how it went. If you're a Philly fan, you're obviously we feel for you because we've been down this road as well as our stars too. I'm sure everybody has. Uh, but if you're a Raptors fan, you're like me. You're ecstatic. This game could not have gone any better than this, and more still, this was a big statement against a quality team. Now the Raptors have already had a statement game this year against the Lakers, in which y'all might remember that game where we were the one team that went to LA and beat the Lakers on their home turf with an infirmary team that was minus Kyle Lowry and Ibaka and Serge Ibaka and Patrick McCall. Now, obviously, he's a little less important to our team than those other two guys that are out of the lineup is. But the fact remains, this team managed to beat the Lakers in LA without those two guys on the court. And obviously, Kawhi's not on the team anymore. So that was a big statement game as well, too, earlier on in the year. And now we have another one against Philadelphia. But this one was a bit different because this time we proved ourselves against an Eastern Conference power, or at least one would surmise that you would think they're going to be near the top of the East this year. And it went well, considering we won. Now, the box scores probably said we should have won the game because of how our guys performed compared to their guys. But if you watch this game, this is a game where Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet in the end won this game for us. But before that stretch where we went on a 10-0 run to close the game out, if you watched this game, you would have thought to yourself, the Raptors are in this game and they're hanging around, but they don't really they wouldn't have deserved to win this game. But But at that moment, it was like a switch went off in their light, and they decided enough is enough with this, and we're going to end this right here. And from that point forward, it was beautiful to watch because from that point forward, from about a minute and a half left in the game on, they went into complete shutdown mode on everybody. And Pascal and Fred VanVleet, our two main stars that are still left on the team, took over the game. And Pascal had to go ahead bucket in the end, which is what we wanted Pascal to do this year is take that leap up forward to a superstar level, and he's already there now. I mean, I think we've all agreed now. We've seen enough of him from before. He's a superstar now. Um, I don't think there's any doubt about that anymore. And actually, I have to talk about him and Van Vliet because Van Vliet's one of those guys where a lot of people they were saying that he was good, but like, well, not good, but respectable. I'll say that. But they weren't really putting a whole lot of real promise, that much of it, beside his name. I think they thought because he thought that he came off the bench in that game six and in the finals last year, that he would be the guy that you just bring in off the bench whenever you need a bucket late in the game, and that would be it. But I thought that Fred VanVleet showed me something else in that series and coming into this series too, especially with Lowry coming into the season. If you remember, he was nursing that thumb injury and he had off-season thumb surgery. I said, and I looked at Fred VanVleet and how he looked, and especially in game one, where he scored 34 in that one, if you remember correctly. And he was phenomenal in that game too against the Pelicans in our first game of the year. He was phenomenal in that game. I said, you know what? This guy is going to be an all-star this year. You watch. No one agreed with me at the time, but I said it. I was the first one, just one of the first people, I guess, to say it right from day one of this season. I've called it. He's going to be an all-star this year, and so far, I've been proven right. I think he is going to be an all-star, obviously along with Siakam. And now Siakam isn't the MVP yet, like the MVP this year, right now, because right now, obviously, those purchases right now are being held by obviously LeBron, Giannis. Then you could put in either one of Harden or Luca in at 3 or 4 in that race. But the fifth man, I would argue, even over AD right now, is Pascal Siakam in that discussion because of where the Raptors are, who's been left on the roster, and the fact that we're now 12-4. We weren't supposed to get to this far, especially with our roster being what it looks like right now. But yet here we are, and this guy's playing lights out, and he's up to like what 26 a night or whatever it is. I think it is. I think it's 25, 26 a night. But that's proving the point that this guy deserves some consideration, at least for that award. And considering where this guy comes from, okay, this guy came out of the G League and he was the finals MVP of the G League championship for when they won, which is where the Raptors first bought him. And by the way, another side note, this is a guy that the Raptors picked up for defensive purposes only. This guy hadn't even scratched the surface yet of any type of offensive repertoire at all. They just thought there's not a lot of promise here, but this guy works incredibly hard. So I'm gonna pick him up. And hopefully his effort will be defensively and then he'll just scrap and scrap and scrap. But look at where that guy is now. I mean, that's where he was, and then you saw him slowly sort of show his promise for the first 2 years, and then obviously last year he took that enormous leap up last year that won him the most improved player award last year, which was very well deserved. I'm sorry, D'Lo fans, D'Angelo Russell fans out there. I know y'all in Brooklyn thought he should have won it, but if you watched Siakam this year and how much of a leap he took, you would have understood exactly why we thought Siakam won. And we're being proven of that this year because not only that, Siakam now has taken an even bigger leap this year than he even did from last year to the end of from 2 years ago to the end of last year. And that's even more astounding. And not only that, now he's being considered, I would think, and I would think he should be considered as one of the MVP candidates this year. Now, he isn't the MVP, but the point is he should be in the discussion. And considering where he comes from, I mean, that's astounding. I mean, it really is. This guy's leap forward has been unreal. There's no other way to put it. And the best part about the game, like I said, if you're a Raptors fan, is that our defense was the way it was. It's the best in the game right now, minus the offensive rebounding. That's the only thing we've had, real flaw we really seem to have with our team right now, is the offensive rebounding, and that could present itself in the playoffs for even when we get there. Not if we get there, we're going there. For all you fans that somehow seem to think that we're not going to the playoffs. How do you look right now? I think you look like clowns right now, don't you think? Ah, la, 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 la. You look like this, ah, la, la, la. And we're all laughing at you. But in a way, we're also not laughing at you because you know why? We're like, you know what? Continue that, because what's happened every single time somebody like that or one of the ESPN reporters has said, "Oh, the Raptors are shit. We're not going anywhere." What's happened? Every single time you said that, from last year to this year, the Raptors not only have always won, they've just annihilated everybody ever since then. So obviously, as soon as we hear you say that, you know what's going to happen. You know what's coming. So the point is, you can never really count this team out, and now you guys are starting to learn it the hard way. So keep it up, though, all that hating. As long as you guys hate, that's more fuel to us, and it just means we're gonna keep on winning. So go ahead and keep on hating, no matter what. Anyway, now about our defense, because that has to be talked about too. Um, I think it goes beyond saying that Nick Nurse is now. I might be crucified for saying this, but I think right now he's by far the most creative NBA coach, maybe ever, but certainly in the league right now. Now I might be crucified for saying that he's by far this, but he's definitely the most creative NBA coach in the league. At least I think so, and I think that should be pretty proven by now. And what he does, especially defensively, what this guy comes up with on a nightly basis on the defensive end is just astounding. And the amount of people he considers to put in those roles at any given moment, no matter what the situation, is astounding. It is astounding, really. And consider this record. Not only did we hold Embiid today to 0 points on 0 of 11, our defensive record this year is impeccable. The only player that has really managed to get off to any kind of decent shooting percentage or any kind of go off style at all on us this year has been Trae Young. If you remember what he did a couple of nights ago in Atlanta, he was able to put up 30 and had a triple double against us. I think he's been the only player this year that's been able to really be able to do his thing. Now that was a bit of a soft spot in our schedule so far because we escaped that game. But if you looked at that game and how Trae Young performed, it it wasn't really to our standards of what we've seen so far from our side defensively. That was one of our poorer performances, no doubt about that. Now, aside from that, our defensive record this year has been impeccable. Consider this. Our record this year so far on the defensive end now includes in LA, we held LeBron to 13 points, his lowest total of the year, on 5 for 15 shooting. Also, we've held Kawhi. If you remember that game in LA as well, when we faced the Clippers, that game we managed to hold him to 12 points. Also, his lowest total of the year so far on 2 for 12 I'm sorry, 2 of 11 shooting from the floor. So that's 25 points combined between those two of the best players in the league right there on a combined 7 for 26 combined. And then in Portland, then we held Damian Lillard, another great player, to just 9 points, not even double digits, 9 points that night. Probably his lowest total of the year. Also on 2 for 12 shooting that night. especially after he managed to talk. He decided he was gonna go talk shit about us, a chirp to us before the game, if you remember that. And then he comes out and look what we did to him. Not only do we hold him to 9 points, but Siakam and Van Vliet in that game just destroyed him. He looked like he wasn't even there at that game. But anyway, there you go. Lillard on 9 points. Now that's LeBron, Kawhi, Lillard on 13, 12, and 9. That's a combined 34 points on a combined 9 for 38. 9 for 38 combined shooting between those three players on those 3 nights, and a combined 34 points. That's almost more field goal attempts for more points than they've scored. You realize that. That's always a bad number. When you can have more field goal attempts than points, it always dictates that night to you had a very bad night. That's probably the indicator. But anyway, there's 3 guys on our record. Next guy, now this is a bit more of a soft spot, with Luka Doncic. Now in Dallas. Now we did lose that game in Dallas, if you remember, and Luka did put up 25 points. However, considering how Luka's looked this year and how he's just destroying everybody and putting up triple doubles, it seems everywhere. Consider this. Yes, he scored 26 points in that game, but he did it on only 5 for 14 from the floor and only 7 assists. So when you consider it was just 26 and it was on 7 assists, both those two numbers are actually very low for him on the year. So so between those 4 guys now, that combined for just 60 points in 4 games played against 4 of the top players in the NBA this year on also on a combined 14 for 52. 14 for 52 combined between those 4 players when we played them, and a combined 60 points. And now today we had Embiid, who we held to 0 points on 0 of 11. That's 5 players on our roster who we've destroyed, shut down. We can add to our trophy wall who we could say, as Messiah Jury said, got them. We got them all. So that's a combined 60 points between 5 of the top players in the NBA this year when we played them. And they've shot a combined, and on those 5 games, they've shot a combined 14 for 65 for those 60 points on 5 of the top players in the NBA. So that's our defensive record this year. So if you're a Raptors fan right now, you have to be extremely ecstatic, as I am, obviously, of what I'm seeing right now. Run! Run, haters, run! I'd love to see us get into the finals and just prove everybody wrong this year. Now, I'll be realistic and say we'll probably make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, because I think this year, like, I want to say we'll make it to the NBA Finals, but my heart tells me there's still one team that it will be hard for us to get over once we get to the playoffs, even though we play this hard, and that's Milwaukee. Now I'd love to see us win, and it could happen. You never know, but my heart says that we'll probably push them to a game 7, and that's where we'll go this year. But hope that we can somehow sneak through them in the end, which could happen, but it's less likely. But that's my prediction for us this year. Now, so anyway, uh, let me know your thoughts and comments in the sections below, and maybe we can win it all this year too. Who knows? Now, who knows? Considering our record, you never know. You never know. It's not obviously it's not logical, but you never know. You never know. That's the beauty of it now. It's starting to become you never know league a lot more than it was a couple of years ago, especially for us. And that's probably the most exciting thing about the NBA now. And by the way, the competition's back in the NBA. That's something we haven't been able to say for a long time now in the NBA, with all the different great duels out there that we're seeing now. So anyway, let me know your thoughts and comments on the comment section below and whatever. And obviously, you know, keep liking and subscribing and whatnot. And I'll be doing another video also today on the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference in all their aspects and trying to predict that in the next segments today as well. So stay tuned for that as well. All right. Bye.